Hey friends, Dawn here, welcoming you to the Soul Goals podcast and year number 3. This year, we are diving into expanding our perspectives, challenging our belief systems, and working the mental and emotional muscles of our souls. Though still all about growth and connection, this year finds opportunities to hear from people in our communities that have walked a path that might be different from our own, but that ultimately present us with the chance to look at a subject in a different light and learn other ways we could approach challenges in our own world. Let's get to it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Soul Goals podcast. We are in year number 3. Oh, look at you, Mike. He's dancing with me. Let's go. Yes, year number 3. It's so exciting. This year, we're kind of taking a little bit different approach with exploring our soul goals, specifically a subject each week that we are unpacking with our guests in an effort to maybe open up that box of beliefs, limiting beliefs you may have on that subject, so that maybe hearing someone else's perspective and input might help you step out of that box, maybe explore that subject from a different way that you may not have ever thought about. And it's about relatability and connection. Bottom line, relatability and connection. We are wired for connection. So when we connect with another person and their words, their experience, their stories, really ultimately helps us to be better individuals, better versions of ourselves, and do the work that we deserve to do for ourselves so that we can be everything we can be for our lives, for the people that depend on us, for our communities as a whole. And I want to tell you, my guest today, I'm so excited. The subject we're going to talk about today is career reinvention. And I just want to tell you, Mike, before we started today, I was Googling up, I just out of curiosity, how many times do you think, Mike, people change careers in their lifetime on average?
On average, I would say 5.
You're so spot on. 5 to 7 is what it said. Yeah. 5 to 7 different times. So I think about this, and let me go kind of backwards a little bit. Mike and I met at a networking meeting for voiceover actors because Mike is a fellow voiceover artist. Yes. But more than that, I just love your energy. You're so vivacious. You're so alive. And you're so like, let's do this. Like life is, oh, you're welcome. Your life is just, I feel like you live life in the fullest capacity. And I love that about you. You exude that. And I think that's a big part of what attracted me to say, hey, let's talk on the pod today. And let's talk about what it is that has gotten you to that point, because I know we all go through challenges to get to those points where, both of us were talking a little bit ago about how we're a little bit aged, right? We're a little bit up in our years, but we're good. And I think we experience things differently as we age and we walk through those doors. And if we think about this in our careers and how they have transpired over the years, I mean, there's so many experiences and so many lessons along the way. So you're a voiceover artist now. You were also an actor. So I can't wait to talk more about that and how that came about and kind of go back to where you started and how you traversed your career across the years and how you got to where you are now, the things that you went through and maybe the limiting beliefs in your head, the passion that you had for changing, why it was that it felt so imminent to do something different, maybe the places you felt stuck along the way, and what that looks like, because I feel like there's so many people that have those experiences and they're maybe in jobs where they go, man, it's great. It's paying the bills. Yeah, I'll do it. But I just don't like myself in this job. I don't feel good in this job. It's a means to an end, but how do I correct it? How do I choose something different? Where do I go with that when I come up with that? So without further ado, friends, welcome to the show, my friend, Mike D. Here we go.
Let's go.
Yes, great.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And I'm super excited to talk about this stuff because it's a passionate thing for me, right? Our professional careers, they help shape our lives. It provides for us. It gives us the means to do the things that we want. And if we're not in a good career or if we're not in a good professional place, that trickles down to everything else. How many times do we hear, don't bring your work home with you? And if you're in a toxic environment, how do you not? Because you're dripping with it 8 hours a day or more for some people. So I'm really excited to talk about this.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, for listeners that like go, oh, who's Mike D? Where did he come from? What did he do? What are you currently doing? Obviously, you're a voiceover artist. You're also an actor. Tell me a little bit about how your week works and kind of where you are now with your current career.
Excellent question. So I still have what we call a W-2, and I do that 40 hours a week.
Okay.
I am, I just mentioned toxic work environment. I'm not really happy there. And
Mhm.
it's not something that I want to continue doing. So obviously shift has to happen. Shift happens, as they say.
Yes.
So what was it? I guess 2 years now, my wife, Kathy, actually brought to me a voiceover teaching opportunity for me to learn. And she said, look, you're a pop culture guru. You're always doing voices. You're always goofing around like that. I think you would be really good at this. And at first it was never anything I had ever considered. It was never anything. I didn't even, how do you do something like that?
Yeah.
And I went through this first course. It was a good course. It was a terrible demo.
Oh, no.
And I was, I started doing auditions, and I connected with a gentleman named Joe, who, we go to his voice networking group that you mentioned earlier. And he has really become a huge mentor for me in how this works. In doing all this and learning about voiceover and getting my own setup, I stumbled into background acting work. That was an accident. And
Yeah.
what ended up
Like,
happening is I
tell me
liked
more
it.
about that. Like, I want to know how that happened. You just like when you stumble into something like that.
I got a random email from a casting director about background work for a project called The Legend of Van Dorn. It was a biographical movie about a Civil War captain, I think he was, or major.
Okay.
He was on the Confederate side. It was filmed here in Tennessee. And I jumped at it because it's a paid gig, for one thing. For another thing, I'd never been on a movie set. I've never been on a television set. And for as much as I love pop culture and movies and all the things, I thought this is a great opportunity to get out there and just do something different. Went out there, loved it. So started following this casting agency and just got several more opportunities. I've done some background work for an Amazon show called Scarpetta, which will be
Yes.
premiering, I think, in February. That stars Nicole Kidman, Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh, God, I can't think of his name now. Simon Baker. Thank you very much. So
Wow.
I did some work on that, long hours on these types of projects. I thought very rewarding for me, though, because it allowed me to make connections. It allowed me to make networking opportunities with people in this industry. That's important no matter what your profession is. We are all relationship-based human beings. We're all energetically connected. So if I'm not happy at my W-2, people pick up on that. Whether I'm meaning for them to do that or not, that's a thing. So, and doing all this background, I'm going, this is a lot of fun. And then they started filming a show called Nashville 911.
Right.
As a retired firefighter, I looked at my wife. I said, I have got to get on this show as a
Yes.
firefighter. And we talk about setting intention as well. I must have set that intention pretty good because I was able to do background work on several episodes as a firefighter. So it was a lot of fun, still expanding on that and just looking to see where this voiceover journey takes me. I have realized I love doing podcasts. I love interviews. I love sitting down and just talking and, bringing information to people. If we can help any one person, that's a beautiful thing. And that's all I want to do is, hey, let's create a world that works for everybody. Nobody's left out and we're all cool in the gang.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Amen. Amen. I want to go back to a phrase that you just said about setting intention, where this is involved across the board in life in general, not just career and where we choose to focus our efforts each day for the income that we bring in, but also just setting intentions and feeling like it's okay for us to do that. Feeling like it's okay for us to reach out and do something that we are a little bit that may expose us, that may, like you said, you've never been on a movie set. And you're like, okay, how did you feel when you got that email about all right, hey, we want to offer you this. And you're like, dude, I don't know anything about what you're saying. Like, I- like the uncertainty, or maybe there was relief. And it's like, this is a really great opening of this door for me to get maybe some a little more clarity on what my W-2 is doing to me. Maybe I do need to have that experience of, showing me that there's more to just what I'm doing on a daily basis to bring a paycheck in. And creating an intention around that is probably what created that opportunity. So let's talk about intention a little bit.
So, excuse me. Years ago, I went through a series of leadership and development seminars, right? Doing some work on myself, which is really important, right? Let's read some books. Let's educate ourselves, especially for me. I learned more in 1 year about myself than probably 20 years of adulthood. Part of that was intention mechanism. Okay. So the question gets posed, what's more important, your intention or the mechanism to get there? Right.
Wow.
So a lot of people, when that question's posed, it's always about the how. It's always about the how. What I learned from me, what I learned in general, really, is that if the intention is set, if the intention is clear, that's all that matters. The mechanism will appear. The way to do it, the how, will happen. It's the intention behind it. Now, like anything else, you can't just do intention and then not have any action, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't have just said, oh, I think I want to be a background actor and waited for something to happen. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
I took some action. I responded to that email. And when I went on to that first project, imposter syndrome, walking around going, I don't belong here. I've never taken an acting class. I've never been on camera. I don't know what I'm doing. I had to mentally guide myself from not looking at the camera because I wanted to. I wanted to look at the camera. So that first project, that's what it felt like. Then I get the Scarpetta thing and I'm on the set. Now I'm a little more comfortable and I'm kind of gelling with everything. And I look to my left and I realize I'm standing next to Nicole Kidman. And I went, whoa. And I would think it was at that moment that the imposter syndrome left me, because we're all human beings. We're all people, right? So let's just go moving forward with this. And I just embraced having fun with it and meeting people. And there were so many amazing people in the industry. And we just had a really good time with it. And that's kind of what that's what that felt like. And the intention has to be clear. It's very powerful. We talk about intention and we talk about manifestation, but it is very powerful to set an intention, really focus on it, take the action, and watch that manifest itself into reality. It happens all the time. And anybody can do it. We just have to believe.
Yes. Yeah. Well, let's talk about, excuse me, let's talk about your prior careers and where you are now versus where you started. I mean, the polar opposite, like such a big difference.
Well, I mean, I'm the type of person that I've changed careers more times than probably a lot of other people. If I get bored in something, I'm gone. I won't continue to do it. Now, I was, when I was growing up, I watched my parents who both had career jobs. My mom worked for she worked for the state and she worked there for 40 years. That was it. That was her job. I didn't know what I wanted to do coming out of high school. I knew college wasn't for me, and I ended up just doing a whole series of jobs until I found something that I went, okay, I want to do this. Right. So I've worn a lot of hats in my professional career. My first ever job, and this is, I'm going to date myself here a little bit.
Okay.
I was 13 years old, and I went to work at the gas station my dad worked at when he was a kid.
Okay.
And that was my first ever job.
And what did you do there?
Gas, because I grew up in New Jersey. And if you didn't know this, guys, it's against the law for you to pump your own gas in New Jersey.
Wait, it still is?
Absolutely.
What? It's 2026, Mike.
I get it. And they're a little bit more lenient. I was there in November and I had to fuel up and I pulled up to a gas station and I got out of my car and I pumped my own gas. And the guy, he kind of side-eyed me a little bit, but he didn't say anything. He didn't come at me or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And back in the day, if somebody even got out of their car, the attendant, hey, get back in your car. What do you want? So that's what I ended up doing. At the age of 14, I was being taught how to drive the tow truck.
Okay.
And again, different time. That would never happen today. So that was my first ever job, really, unless you count my paper route, which I don't.
No. I wouldn't count that. But I think it's interesting how you brought up about your parents. And like my parents are the same way. It's like we find the profession, we find the career. This is where we stay. This is the line that we toe. We don't shift, we don't change. And I think there's an interesting point to that, because I look at that and I'm like, okay, so what's the good of that? It's continuity, it's consistency, it's creating a, you know what, I can do this mentality. I'm going to dig in and do the work even when the days are hard. But then where do you cross that line into, I've now gone from just doing it because it's difficult and I can rise to the challenge to, this is not aligned with me and it's okay for me to do something different. When we come from a household where our parents were like, this is the job that we do, this is how we do it, and this is where we will be until we are 65 years old and retire.
I think part of it's a generational thing. That was the way it kind of was at that time. You get a job, you get married, you raise a family, that's what you do.
Yeah.
I've always been an anomaly. I've always believed that because, like I said, if I get bored, I'm out. And also, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I got an office job at one point. I think it was 18, 19. And I got an office job for a lobbyist group of all things. And I worked in the mailroom and I also worked at the reception desk. And it was, after a couple years, it was a fun job. I liked the people I worked with. I knew it wasn't for me. I knew there's no way I could spend 30 years sitting at this desk or processing the mail. I just couldn't do it. So I started looking around, still didn't know what I wanted to do. And then one night I was cruising around with one of my buddies and his pager went off because he was a volunteer firefighter. And when that pager goes off, that means there's a call. And he said, I gotta go up to the firehouse. Do you mind if you go with? And I said, no, let's go. So we got to the firehouse and everybody's running around, putting their gear on and getting on trucks. And he said, do you want to come with us on the call? You can't, obviously you're not going to do anything, but you can come as, and again, different time. But I said, let's go. So I jump on the engine with him and we're screaming down the street with the sirens and they're getting the jackets and their Scott packs on. And I'm looking around, I'm going, this is what I want to do.
That's more you.
And
yeah.
I said to him when we got back to the station, I said, how do you do this? And he said, here's an application. Within 6 months, I was in the fire academy and developed a huge love for the fire department and the fire service. And that's what I started doing. My day job. So I was a volunteer firefighter, but my day job was a full-time EMT driving an ambulance. So anything first responder, wanted to do it. Love the career. Love that career.
Yeah. So finding that career though took you a bit of time. And I think like you talked about it being generational, like the thing that our parents went through. And did you feel like you were in a place, did you ever feel like you were in a place where I have to figure it out and I have to stay with it once I do this because that's what my parents did? Or did you feel like, you said you're kind of an anomaly and you're a little bit different along that line. Did you feel like there was an openness around that for you?
There was an openness around it for me, but there was an expectation placed on me by those around me to get a career and to do this. This is what you need to do. This is what you have to do. And I'm young and naive, but I also processed that thought and went, I don't think I have to do that. I think I can find my own way. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's your way. I mean, if it works for me, that's great. What works for me might not work for you. What works for you might not work for me. And I went on that journey of self-discovery and what does my professional career look like? Because I did the emergency services thing So I joined the fire service in 1990. In 1997, I moved to California from New Jersey. I thought I could just walk into any fire department with this folder of certifications and letters of recommendation and laterally transfer. California said, that's great. When you have certification from California, come back and talk to us.
Okay.
So I
So
got
you're
shut
starting
down.
over again.
So I had to start all over
Yeah.
again.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it took a kind of weird turn, because now what do? I'm living in California. I have to get a job. I don't know what to do. And I got hooked up with a guy who was from New York, and we bonded because we were both Northeasters. And he said, I'm a manager. I'm a loss prevention manager over here, and I need agents. And I go, what's loss
What is
prevention?
that?
I don't even know what
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah.
And he said, we catch people stealing.
Oh,
And I went, oh,
okay.
well, that sounds kind of fun. So I do all the paperwork, fill out the application. I get hired. And when I got hired, and this is the retail world, right? So this company at the time was Kmart. And they gave me my choice of stores. They said, you can go to this store over here where nothing happens. It's in a real good part of the city. Or you can go to this store over here, which is in the worst part of the city. It's ghetto. There is tons of rampant crime. And I said, I want to go to that store.
Okay.
And they looked at me. The interviewers kind of looked at each other, and then they looked at me and they said, why do you want to go there? And I said, well, how am I supposed to gain any kind of experience or knowledge in a place where nothing ever happens? I would much rather go to a place where I can learn this job, learn how to do it. Obviously, it sounds like you need help there as well. So that's what I'd like to do. Also, that's where my buddy worked. He was the manager at that building. So I wanted to be, I thought if we could work together, that would be even better. So I went to work there, discovered I had a real knack for catching people stealing.
Okay.
And this is where energy comes into play again, because so I'm an empath. I have very strong empathic abilities. Now, so does everybody on the planet. We can sense energy. We can sense emotion, all the things. So I would be walking through the store and somebody would pass me and it would be, oof, energy there is off. Something's weird. So let me just watch. And it's all behavior based, right? Anybody that's into a retail environment or a store and they're up to no good, their behavior will dictate that to the trained eye. And that's what I learned in that year. I was only at that store for a year. Part of the reason I was only at the store for a year was because in that 1 year, we saw 3 armed robberies and 2 drive-by shootings. And at that point, I had a close friend of mine who was a police officer. He said, Mike, you got to get out of there.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get hurt. You can't carry weapons. You can't. And somebody at some point, you're going to go to stop them and they're going to pull a gun on you.
Yeah.
And he wasn't wrong. And by that time I was good enough at my craft that I got headhunted by a different retailer. So I just jumped ship, went to a different retailer and started all over again, doing the same job, but honing my craft and just really developing a skill at that. At the same time, I'm going to go back to night school to train to be a firefighter medic again.
Yeah.
So again, wearing all these hats, but that's where my intention was. My intention was I'm getting back to being on the fire service and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. My intention is clear on this.
Yeah.
So when I was going to classes, I remember very specifically, I took a week-long class. It's a very intensive wildland firefighting class because it's California. You have to have wildland certification. And classroom instruction would end around 6 p.m. At 9, 10 o'clock, I'm still there practicing things, working on things. And one morning, the instructors came in and they said, we have practical exams today. We want you to know as a class, we know the people who have been staying and working, and we know the people who haven't. And it's going to show up when you do these practical exams today. And it sure did.
Right.
So the intention for me was clear. The how-to just landed in my lap, and here we go.
Yeah. But I think too, you said a really interesting point about the loss prevention thing when you said you wanted to go to a space that had things so that you could have that experience.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that the biggest thing that I'm learning right now from what you're talking about is that you don't shy away from that experience, because the experience is what makes the intention more concrete, kind of brings the intention out of the ground, if you will, kind of like grows it. So you've planted the roots, but you got to, like, you're now tending to the garden, and you got to have the experience. And somebody actually said this the other day, and I loved this analogy too. It's like in a garden, you're going to get weeds along the flowers. So it's all relevant. It's all going to be there. We're not going to have an easy experience. We're going to have a relative experience where you can go through and you can pick, and you're going to have to do the work to get to that beautiful intention that you initially planted. Like, you initially planted that garden. You know what I'm saying? So we think about that and how your intention was always there. You it's like us sitting in the car where we may take a detour, but we're paralleling the interstate that we're driving down anyway, you know? Like,
100%.
yeah, we're not going a different direction, only if the intention takes us there. But what I hear you saying is that that intention was always there.
I think it was. I don't think, I know it was. I was
Mhm.
always very happy being a first responder. And I was asked one time, why do you want to do this job? I think it was in one of the interviews I did. And I said, I want to do this job because when somebody calls for help, I want to be the person to come.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything about glory or being a hero or anything like that. I just recognized this, whoever's calling or making that call, this is probably the worst day of their life. And I want to
Mm.
show up and help them get through this, whatever it is. And I won't lie, there were, I mean, I saw glory seekers in the fire service that they just wanted to say, I'm a fireman. And
Mhm.
that was it. And there was not a lot of work they put into it. And they weeded out pretty quick. They really
Right.
did, because you have to be on your game with that. I learned also that applied in loss prevention because everybody's fighting a battle I know nothing about.
Mm.
And there's a difference between somebody that comes in and they steal a coat and it's 20 degrees outside. And I say, why did you steal that coat? And they said, because I'm cold. I'm homeless. I don't have a means to stay warm, as opposed to somebody that comes in and they're loading up a bag with $500 worth of electronic equipment that they're going to sell. That there's
Yeah.
a huge difference there. And I learned compassion around that. And there were a lot of times where I actually fought my superiors and saying, instead of prosecuting this criminally, yeah, we're going to trespass them out of here and we'll do all the things. But why don't we do something more productive than just throwing them into a criminal situation? What can we do to help them? I'll give
Yeah.
you a great example of that. I had a homeless guy come into a company I was working for. He had come in multiple times stealing. We knew who he was. When I saw him come in, I walked up to him. I introduced myself. I said, come on over here. And I bought him lunch. And I sat down and we had a conversation about that and about what was going on for him and about why he was. And by the end of that lunch, we were on the same page and he never came in and stole again.
Yeah.
Not to my building. Now, for all I know, he went down the street and robbed
Well,
a blind.
right.
But
But
for
it
for us,
involves
we had
around,
connection.
yeah, it involves the intention. I mean, everything that you're speaking about is intentional. You know what I'm saying? Everything is very specific. And I think that I love how that kind of just plays across our whole life in general. But if we're thinking about it from a career standpoint, that intentionality is so strong for us, whether we're in something that we really like or whether we're in something that we don't like at all. It's where we put our focus. It's where we put our focus where things grow. It's where we put our focus that things evolve, basically. When we think about, you know, the beliefs that we have around intention and around shift and around change in general. I mean, change is hard for anybody, right? And you said it earlier, shift happens.
It
Shift
does.
happens.
Sometimes whether
Yeah,
you want it to or not.
thank you. I was just gonna say that. Like, we don't know. Like, your shift in your job happened because, like, you had intention of going to California, and this is what I have worked really hard for in New York and New Jersey. And okay, now it's not gonna work. Now what am I gonna do with that? Am I gonna go, whoa, woe is me? Or am I gonna choose to, all right, accept where I'm at, take a step forward, but don't lose sight of the goal of where I'm headed and what it is that I really want to make work in my life. And that I'm willing to walk through the changes and the shifts that have to happen along the way for that to happen. And I think sometimes I know myself specifically, when I've had career changes in my life, I really struggle with this belief system of, is this really the right thing to do? But not for me as much as the belief pattern that maybe has been constructed around it. Like, if I leave this, that means I'm inconsistent. If I leave this and I do something different, that means I don't care. If I walk away from this, maybe that means that I'm letting someone down. And so it doesn't become about me. It becomes about all the other circumstances. And then I have a real hard time shifting and letting go of control and then seeking intention about what it is I really want to do.
I'm really glad you said that because I labored for a long time under the belief that if I didn't live up to other people's expectations, that I was letting them down, I was a failure, I was failing myself and them. And then I had the realization through some self-work that the only person who needs to be happy with my life is me. The only person who has to do it is me. That was made screamingly obvious to me. I had gone back to New Jersey for a visit and I was hanging out with some of my old buddies and somebody looked at me and said, "You're so lucky." And I said, "What do you mean I'm lucky?" And they said, "Well, you got out of here and look at how good you're doing and everything else." And I looked at him, I said, "I appreciate you saying that. Luck had nothing to do with this. You weren't there when I was working 16-hour days between work and school. You weren't there when I wanted to quit, when I was sitting in my room going, what am I doing? This isn't working. When I would call my support structure and go, I'm done. I can't. And they're going, no, Mikey, hang in there, hang in there. And I called my dad one time about this and I said, Pop, I'm done. I can't deal with this garbage anymore. This is bullshit. I want out.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, look, one, don't just quit. Give yourself at least a year working at this. Two, remember, there are people here waiting for you to fail and come back so that they can say, I told you it wouldn't work. And some of those same people were the ones going, you're so lucky.
So lucky. Yeah.
So perspective, right? The only person I need to satisfy is me.
Yeah.
The only person I need to be happy with what I'm doing is me. It's there's this old saying, free your mind, your ass will follow. And that's exactly how that went, because free my mind. Now I'm living in purpose. Now I'm living in my realm. And the people I'm surrounding myself are supporting me with that. Did I lose friends along the way, or did I have to move some people out of my inner circle and bring new ones in? Absolutely. Because for me, part of it is if I'm not surrounding myself with the right people, I'm not going to move forward because they're not going to help me move forward. In fact, some of the biggest dream stealers in the world are the people closest to us. It's terrible because I don't want them to be dream stealers. They don't even know that they're dream stealers. And I've had to move people out. And anytime I've made adjustments like that, I've realized that in the long run, it's exactly how it was supposed to be. My wife has this saying about friends that come and go. She goes, friends for a season, friends for a reason.
Oh my gosh, Mike. And
that's okay. That's good. It doesn't mean it has to be a bad thing. Yeah, we were tight for so long, and now you're going to go do you, and I'm going to go do me.
And it's okay.
And it's okay. It's good.
Yeah. Shifting is okay. Shift happens and it's okay. Living on purpose for a purpose, basically. Living on purpose for a purpose. And I love it. You said it. It's perspective. I was actually just watching an Instagram reel that came across my feed, and is a pastor talking about growth in our environments. I love that you brought up environments because he literally was talking about that this morning. Our environment is what creates and shapes us. And the change in our environment will challenge us, but in the best possible way. And leaving behind environments and rooms where we have outgrown them is fundamentally what we do as people. It doesn't mean that it's a negating factor. It doesn't mean that you're leaving someone behind and you're being purposefully um, negative or discounting that relationship or that experience with them. It's just a time to graduate, basically. And you figure out that those environments, like the iron sharpens iron, right? You want to surround yourself with those environments that actually help you co-create those things and those intentions and build those gardens. Friends for a season, friends for a reason. Is that what your wife said?
Yes.
Love it. Love it. It doesn't mean it's a negative. And I think for a lot of times in my life, that's been the case where I've had to really work through that. Like, why is this situation and this relationship walking away from me? Why is this not working anymore? And by the way, I am the queen of ram the square peg in the round hole because my dad taught me that one.
That's our stubborn streak going, I'm going to make this work, whether you all like it or not. And that's
right.
And at the same time, and I've had this realization where I go, okay, the only person I'm actually crushing right now is me. And I need to stop forcing what isn't there. I equate that to relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I will not chase you in relationship. If I have friends and I'm the only one that's calling and I'm the only one reaching out and I'm the only one making an effort, I will come to a place where I go, I love you. I do. I'm not going to chase you down.
Yeah.
And I learned that partly by living in California and visiting New Jersey. I would come home and I would drive myself crazy trying to track down everybody. I had to stop doing that. And I finally just said, okay, I'm going to be home these days. This is where I'll be. If you want to hang out, great. If not, great.
Yeah.
And didn't affect me. In fact, I probably ended up happier about it because I wasn't trying to get that square peg through a round hole with relationship.
Right.
So it happens. We don't have to place negative emotion on that type of thing. Mm-hmm. It's all story we create anyway. Mm. So if I'm going to create a story, let me create a good one.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. If you're going to overreact, let's overreact in the best possible way. What's the best?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. If I'm creating story, which we all do, right? Then why not create the best story instead of creating something that's not going to serve me?
Totally. Totally. Yeah.
And how many times do people, myself especially, have we self-sabotaged ourselves or have withdrawn because I don't feel that I'm worthy of that? Yes, I am. I'm worthy of all of it and then some. Yes, universe, bring that to me. Let's do that. Let's do this. And whatever it is, 100%. In for a penny, in for a pound, right? Oof. If I'm going to do it, you're getting 100% of me.
Right.
You know, I always hear people go, especially in relationship. This is so funny to me. I hear, well, you know, relationships are 50-50. No, they're not.
No,
they're
I agree
100-100.
Oh.
I have a 100% relationship with my wife, and she has a 100% relationship with me. And it shows. The reason it shows is because people look at us and say, we want what you have. Mm-hmm. I had two of our daughter's friends have told my wife and I, you guys are relationship goals for us. Because that's what we want in a relationship is what you two have. We don't yell at each other. We don't call each other's name. We joke around, but we never joke around in a cut you down kind of way.
Right.
Right. And that shows, and that transcend that to other relationships. Right. Mm-hmm. The biggest compliment I can receive is when somebody looks at me and says, I want what you have.
Yeah, totally.
Not, I mean, metaphorically, I'm not saying,
well,
you know
no. Yeah. But like I think that's such a wonderful, you look at people and you go, it's the sincerest form of flattery. You know, when someone looks at you and go, that's you're living authentically. I think that's kind of where I'm coming from. Like when you live authentically, the things that are supposed to find you. And the things that are not
wants you.
Oh, right. So let's take this into the work perspective. How do you live authentically in your center with doing what it is that you desire, that is your passion? Because I think about where you are now as a voiceover actor and as an actor in general. Let's talk about that being something that you have cultivated within your life across the years of career changes and finding yourself. I'm going to put air quotes around it, finding yourself, because we all have to walk through these experiences to figure out where it is we want to be. Right. But how do we, how do we create worth around the fact that I've changed and this is feasible and I can do this? How do we, is it age? Is it experience? Is it, self work? Is that self exploration? Like, what's the bottom line to let go of limiting beliefs, feeling like we can't change where we are? We are powerless to change our circumstances, our work environment, our relationships, everything around us. Why do we resist that so much? Maybe that's kind of the crux of the question I'm asking.
I mean, I can only speak for me. One, accept your own greatness. So I accepted that I am a very powerful human being, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing is I'll set my intention around what it is. You can call it setting a goal, however you want to phrase that, okay? I don't focus on the end result. I focus on action, right? Anything we're doing, voiceover acting or voiceover work, for example, there's a journey like anything else. And the journey starts with one step. What's the first step? Let me educate myself. Now what? Well, I guess now I need a microphone. Okay,
Yeah.
now what? Well, now I need to learn how to use the microphone.
Yeah.
So it's one step at a time. It's very easy for people to look at an end result and go, you're so lucky, or you did this, or you did that. Yeah, that's well and good. You weren't there during the struggles. You weren't there when I was sitting at the networking group 3 weeks ago going, I'm really frustrated that I haven't gotten anything back yet on a lot of the auditions I've done. They don't see that. So what they don't see, they don't understand. The end result's great. I tend to focus on the journey and patience. You have to, I have to have patience. And believe me, I'm an instant gratification person. I want it right now. And
Same.
patience. And we live in a technological society where everything is at our fingertips, right? Our cell phones, these things, I have a supercomputer in the palm of my hand that has the sum of all human knowledge in it. And I'm looking at cat videos. You know what I mean? And I have to go, wait a second. Do I really want to look at cat videos, or do I want to educate myself a little bit more? So I actually sympathize with younger generations because that's how they've grown up. Yeah. Everything happens immediately. And there's this lack of understanding around process, journey, patience, doing the work, all the things. In my W-2, I have seen kids coming in that are getting hired at 18, 19, and they expect to be making $60,000 to $80,000 a year, having the schedule they want and all the things. And I'm going, hang on a second, because there's a thing called paying your dues and doing the work. And it doesn't just happen like that. Now it could, absolutely, there's exceptions to every rule. And there's always going to be one or two people or even more that they have this journey that leads them to really, really big success really, really quickly. Look at Mark Zuckerberg.
Right.
He never even left. I don't think he graduated Harvard. I might be wrong on that, so don't everybody kill me. But he invented Facebook at Harvard when he was an undergrad. Look at his success. So there are exceptions to the rule. For a lot of us, hey, it's the journey. I've got to put the work in. I have got to get myself going in order to reach the goals that I have set. And let's be clear, we have got to set goals. Yes. I can't just, oh God, I had a guy one time, it was kind of a crude analogy, but he goes, because I said something about, oh, I wish this would happen. And he goes, I want you to do me a favor. And I said, what? He goes, I want you to wish in this hand. I want you to shit in this hand. I want you to tell me which hand fills up first.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And I went,
I love it.
All right. I don't like what you just said, but man, you're spot on with it.
That makes so much sense to me. Yeah.
Because you know, I mean, what was it? If I talked earlier about some of the personal development stuff I did through, and it was through a company called Clemmer and Associates. And Brian Clemmer founded the company, and he's written several books. One of those books was, If How-Tos Were Enough, We'd All Be Skinny, Rich, and Happy.
Right. Right. We forget that. Yeah.
So in reading this book, and again, doing the work for me, right? Learning more about me. How do I show up? Do I show up in a great way? Do I show up in a negative way? Do I show up as a victim? Because if I
Oh,
show up as a victim, nothing's ever going to happen because it's never going to be my fault. There is a huge degree of personal responsibility. This is on me. My life is on me.
yeah.
No one else is responsible for me but me. So if I don't get the promotion, maybe I didn't work that hard. If I don't get the end result I wanted, maybe I need to do something different.
Yeah.
But if I sit there and I go, well, it's that person's fault and this person that and this, I'm spinning my wheels now,
Yes.
and I'm
Yeah.
creating bad story.
Story. It goes back to stories that we create.
I'm
Totally.
creating bad story.
Yeah, totally. I love what you said about the process and the journey. So if we think about that from a broad perspective, why do you think we limit ourselves from diving in and just being okay with, it isn't about the end result. It is about the journey. Is that a self-limiting belief that we've been taught? Is that maybe part of our script along the way, the experiences that we've walked through, the disappointments that we've had? And how would you switch that? How would you then go, okay, I'm going to get my mindset out of victim mentality and I don't like where I'm at. I'm going to do something different today. One step that I can do different today. And I think the first thing, it's got to start like up between your ears. It's got to start between your ears. But if you feel powerless over your circumstances, how do you swap that between your ears? You know what I'm saying?
I think for a lot of people, it's a worthiness issue.
Mm,
A lot of people don't feel that they're worthy of that or that they deserve that or that they can do that. Those limiting beliefs will absolutely prevent a person from getting where they want to be. It will absolutely prevent them from achieving the goals that they're setting. And I guarantee you there will be reasons why. And you call them reasons, you can call them excuses, but at the end of the day, you're going to have results or you're going to have reasons. And the thing about results is this: often harsh, always fair.
Yeah.
Always fair, right? Yeah. What did you get at the end? Was it what you wanted or not? And some of it's worthiness, some of it's limiting beliefs, some of it, I hate to say, I'm not surrounded by the people that are going to support what I'm doing.
It's the environment, right? Yeah.
So we go back to environment with that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of shift happens. A lot of shift doesn't happen if I'm limiting myself as to how it happens, or if I'm focused too much on how it happens. I go right back to intention. Okay, here's my intention. Person A is all about it. Person B, who's been with me my whole life, is like, I don't think you're going to be able to do that. Person B, I'm going to have you over here. We're going to have dinner next week. It's going to be great. But when it comes to this journey, I'm going to be dealing with person A.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. The other thing too is, and I see it all the time, or at least it's my experience, is people give away their power.
Right.
People give away their power. And the second I give away my power, I'm no longer living in my intention. I'm no longer moving forward because I've given my power away. That's also becoming a victim. When somebody says, I'll give you a great example, and it's kind of funny. Working in the customer service realm, people come in and sometimes they're not very nice.
Yeah.
If I allow myself to get angry and go back at them, I've just given that person my power.
Right.
100%. Why? Because that's not who I am. I'm not going to I don't need to sit here and yell at you or whatever. And I allowed that response. I chose that response. And I could choose that. I could choose a different response anytime I want. I had an experience where somebody looked at me and said, "Are you still mad at me?" And I said, and this was somebody I didn't know. This was a customer service. This was in the customer service world. And I had a negative interaction with this person, and they came back in a couple of days later, and he walks up to the counter and he goes, "Are you still mad at me?" And I said, "No, you don't have the ability to make me mad."
Yeah.
Because he doesn't, right? I don't know you. you don't know me. There's no way I can choose anger, because why? If
Right.
more people, if we adopted this more, we would see less road rage. We would see less controversy. We would see less
Totally.
conflict. People are very quick to conflict right now. And part of it is fear-based mentality, where we're really not taking our own power in and standing in our own power and going, okay, I get it. You're upset, but I don't have to respond to you in the way you're coming at me.
Right.
I have choice on that.
Choice.
So I try to choose.
Yeah, it's responding versus reacting. That's a big part of it. But I think it goes back for me. Everything you're saying goes back to that point that you started with worthiness, feeling worthy. Like that's the fundamental for me. What I'm hearing is the fundamental crux of it is that worthiness. I am worthy to experience my journey. I am worthy to experience my process, and I am worthy of having good things happen to me. I'm worthy of a career that I love. I'm worthy of a job that fulfills me. I'm worthy of a relationship that supports me through any shift that I take. I'm worthy of having an environment where it challenges me to grow in a really positive way. But we get that limiting stuckness, and it's the victim. It's what, if worthiness is the Roman numeral 1, the capital letter A is going to be that victim. Let's put the bullet points under what victim looks like, because I think we all go there. I mean, I went there yesterday. I can tell you, you know what I'm saying? And we all go to those points when we get in a place where we're stressed, or we get in a place where we feel like we don't have power because we've given our power away, like you were talking about. And we just limit ourselves. And then when we limit ourselves, we limit our possibilities. And when we limit our possibilities, you can't see the forest for the trees. So there's no looking at what my life could be different next month if I chose a different direction. If I put action into it, like you're talking about, putting action into the shift that you want to happen and the change that you want to happen. Gosh.
100%. The other thing too is a lot of times I think people will sacrifice moving forward for safety and security. They're comfortable where they're at. I don't want to, if I step out of my comfort zone, everything may change for the worst. And now we're into a fear-based mindset. Can't do that. Yeah. I won't do that. Right. Yeah. And
by the way, when did you learn that, by the way? I just want to ask you that, because
when did I learn
that you won't do that, that you're like, I'm not going to step into that fear-based mentality. Because I had a therapist a long time ago tell me that the pain of change is sometimes worse than the pain of just staying the same for us.
Okay. So that's a great point. Thank you for saying that, because that's also in the realm of what I learned, is that people will stay in the same spot until the pain of change is less than the pain of staying same. That's the other half of that equation.
Yeah.
When did I come to this epiphany? I would say in 2010. So I met my wife in 2009. She is a remarkable woman. She is mind blown. I'm way out of my lane, by the way, when I met her. And I know that. It's fine. I love her so much.
Oh, I love that.
And she introduced me to this personal development series that I went through. And in 2010, I went to the first seminar, and she said to me, she goes, I want you to do this thing. I want you to go to this weekend seminar. I'm like, okay, what is it? And she tells me what it is. I'm like, and she said, look, here's the thing. I'll pay for it. All you have to do is show up. The only thing I ask is that you do the whole weekend and you don't leave early and you don't bail out at any time. And I love her. I trust her.
Yeah.
So I said, yes. So I go to this thing. And the first thing I learned in this, and I can relate my experience. The first thing I learned in this is the facilitator was talking about giving away your power and all the things. And he said something to the effect of, when this person makes you angry, that's your fault. And I immediately raise my hand and I go, excuse me, I got a question, because I'm a guy, and he goes, what's your question? I says, you're telling me that this guy over here pisses me off and it's my fault? And he goes, Yes.
Yes.
And I said, you're full of shit. And we were off to the races for about 45 minutes.
Mike.
That's where I learned I chose that response. Doesn't matter what this guy said. Doesn't matter what he did. I'm the one that chose the response that was that negative. Okay, that's a game changer. That's when I started having these epiphanies. So I opted to go through a year's worth of seminar, or excuse me, in 1 year, I completed all four seminars, learn more about myself and how to show up in the world. That's where I said, I'm not going to live in fear. Fear is just false evidence appearing real. And I am not going to do that. Fear is going to hold me back. Fear is going to make me a victim. And most fear is just the unknown, like leaving a W-2 for something better. Well, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
People are scared of that. So maybe they don't do that. Now, I want to be very clear here to all the listeners here. There is a difference between taking a leap of faith and changing your career and doing it in a responsible way, as opposed to doing it in an irresponsible way. I'm not suggesting you do that in an irresponsible way. There is a difference. Set yourself up for success, right? Because if a person jumps out their job that they have into something without preparation, without doing the work, then all of a sudden the roof comes crashing down, it all burns to the ground, and now they're sitting there in victim stance going, well, I told you it wasn't going to work. There's difference there, right? Set yourself up for success. That's possible. That's why I'm still at my W-2 right now. Is what I'm doing and what I'm working towards going to pay off? 1,000,000%. I'm on the journey, and the journey's still going. So I just want to keep going on that journey, and I will reach that point where I can go, okay, I'm leaving the W-2, and now I can do what I want to do, which is absolutely working from home, doing voiceover work, doing podcasts. Like, I love what we're doing here right now. All these things, the background work on TV. Who knows? Maybe I'll even get a speaking role at some point. I don't have any huge expectations other than this is what I'm going to do. Let's see what it looks like.
Yeah.
But
you're letting it unfold.
Right. And that's part of the beauty of it. I remember coming home when I was working on Scarpetta and walking up to my wife and going, I was just in a scene with Nicole Kidman. And she's like, are you serious? And I'm going, yes. By the way, she's tall as hell.
Yeah, totally. I used to teach a spin class at a facility that's no longer here in the Nashville area. And she came in and took my class. I had no idea it was her. She had a different name. But there's no denying when Nicole Kidman walks in your class, it's like, well, hello. Oh, hi.
I know you.
I know who you are.
I know you.
Yeah. I think I love what you said about showing up in the world, and the fear of changing for so many people is because we don't want to step away from that safety and security that we know. And in knowing what we're going to get, as dysfunctional as it might be, as erratic as it might be, as chaotic as it might be, is still our usual because we know it. Doesn't mean that it's okay, but it then creates that victim loop, if you will, because we're like, oh, woe is me. I can't do anything different. I can't change anything different. And I love what you said too. You have to be responsible about your actions. That is not what this is implying whatsoever. It is talking about being very intentional about the direction you're headed. I think that's the biggest thing for me today. Like, it started out that way. It goes right back to that for me anyway, from what I'm hearing you say. But I think too, leaving that safety and security of even the dysfunction is something that so many people are feel incapable of doing because it's something that they're used to. And so they know how they're going to react. They know how angry it's going to be. That in a way, it's like, I know the script. I know the story. I've run it a million times. Let me just pull it right back up in my Rolodex, and I'm just going to hit replay. And here we go again. Like you said, off to the races we go. Right. And
this doesn't just apply to work. This applies to relationships. This applies to your living situation. This applies to everything in your life. If you're stuck, you can get out of it. But for a lot of people, I heard a term recently, and I thought it was really, really profound. They call it the golden handcuffs. because you're at a job that you hate, that's sucking the life out of you, but the benefits are great. And I'm just going to keep doing it. Those are the golden handcuffs.
Yeah.
The question I ask, at what cost?
Yeah.
At what cost to my soul? At what cost to my heart? At what cost to the ones I love? Because whether I think I am or not, I am bringing it home. Whether I think I am or not, it is raising my stress levels. Whether I can see it or not, it's happening. The only person responsible for that is me. I have to change that. I think part of what makes my relationship with my wife so incredible is we don't necessarily look at it like I'm not responsible for her happiness. I enhance her happiness.
Oh, love that, Mike. Yeah.
And she, again, it's the little things too. She feels that way. And it's the little things we do for each other that help propel each other forward. I'm going to support you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you get to whatever goal it is that you want. So when I came home and said to my wife, I think I want to do some background acting work, she didn't go, really? You want to do that? She went, great. When do you start? You know what I mean?
Gosh,
it's all supportive. When she said to me, I want to be involved with babies, I said, okay, how do you do that? And she goes, oh, I'm not sure. I said, well, don't they have a thing at the hospital where you can go and they pay you to just hold babies? She goes, yeah, but I want more than that. She went, got certified as a birth doula, and has helped bring over 80 babies into the world.
Oh, I love it.
So it's just, we don't have one of our daughters came home one time for Christmas holiday, and she was a nutritionist at the time. And she was sitting there going, I'm not sure I want to stay a nutritionist. I think I want to be a chiropractor. And we started calling her doctor for the rest of that trip. She now is a successful chiropractor and has a practice on Music Row. And she's knocking it out of the box.
Mike.
Intention, support. We're going to all get there together. I like to use the term, we're going to link our arms and we're all moving forward together. Let's go. Let's go. And do it with positivity. Do it with love. Because any other negative emotion is going to creep doubt in. It's going to creep fear in. It's going to creep self-questioning in. It's going to do all those things. And then it's really easy to fall back into old habits. And some of it is old habits. And for some of us, it's really difficult to break those habits. When I did that year of work on myself, I'm still on that journey. I'm still working on myself. Am I successful? Absolutely. Do I have terrible days where, not terrible days, because I'm not choosing that. Do I have days where I could have showed up better? Sure. It's and you mentioned this earlier, it's the awareness around it, right? If I give away my power, or if I react or choose poorly, I've gotten to a point now where I recognize it almost immediately. And I go, okay, hold on. Let me readjust. Let me refocus. Now I'm moving forward again. So we have that opportunity that's available to us all the time. Do we recognize it? Hopefully.
Yeah, but you got to change you got to change the environment, and you have to step outside of the box of self-limiting beliefs. I feel like the things that maybe happen to us. So how would you tell somebody that is sitting here going, yeah, Mike, that's a bunch of shit. You have no idea the shoes that I'm in. You have no idea how powerless I am to change the situation. My family relies on me. I hate my job, but I have to have my income because that's what makes the world go round in our household. And what would you say to somebody that says, I don't have that luxury? That's great. Everything you're saying, I understand, but I don't have that luxury.
The first thing I would say to them is, hang on, because I had two different conflicting thoughts that ran into. Okay, got it. Sorry. First thing I would say to them is, you're absolutely right. You are fighting a battle I know nothing about, as is every person that I encounter, right? I get that. What have you done? What have you done? Do you go to work for 8 hours? And then when you come home, do you eat dinner? Do you sit down and watch TV for 4 hours? Whatever the goal is, whether it's a fitness goal or a professional goal, have you taken action? It's not up to me to judge you or to go, oh, you should do this. I don't know what you should do. You know better than I do what you should do. So the
Totally.
question I would answer, I would ask a question or three. What have you done? What do you want? I was talking to somebody I work with yesterday, and he's a younger guy, he's a real good guy. He's a great worker. And I said to him, because I know he's not happy with what he's doing. And I said to him, I said, if what's your dream job? What is it? If you had any job you want to do, what would your dream job be? And he goes, I think I'd really want to work with animals and do some stuff with animals. And I said, start, because you're going to blink your eyes and you're going to be here for 20 years.
Yeah.
What action have you taken?
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'm in school and I'm going to start doing it. I said, great.
Well,
Keep
and
that
it's
ball rolling.
yeah, it's allowing ourselves to step out of to take the blinders off and to kind of open ourselves to the peripheral visions of the different things that are kind of rolling along as we're driving our car down the highway of life, if you will. Like being allowed to dream about new things, being allowed to say like that dude at work you were just talking about, like you gave him permission to open that box. Well, maybe I would like to do this. I mean, maybe he's spoken it out loud. Maybe he hasn't spoken it out loud. I love, by the way, that you called your daughter doctor for the rest of the trip. And look where she is now, because it's intention. It's putting it out there,
She actually brought that up and said, I love the fact that nobody judged me for it. Nobody said anything negative. Everybody just started calling me doctor. And now she's a doctor.
Yeah. It's not judging. I love it. I love it. It's being open in that environment. And, if your environment isn't open, maybe it's time to not say, see ya, but it's time to say, I'm going to go this direction. Let's have dinner in 2 weeks. But tomorrow, I'm going to find a support mechanism that gives me a little bit more oomph in the direction I want to go to. Maybe that
100%.
serves me. Yeah, maybe that serves my season where I am now. Like I look at my kids and the people that come in and out of their lives and the really interesting synchronistic timing of when they come into their lives and when they leave. And it's, you grieve the loss of relationships. You are excited about new relationships. But when you can look back and go, this is what I'm grateful for. And this is what showed up when I needed it the most. And now it's almost like I've graduated. I'm now, and that person has graduated. We've all graduated. It doesn't mean that it's not bittersweet. It doesn't mean that you're not going, oh, it didn't matter, because it's all part of our growth. But we have to find those places and continually evolve to those places that we can still grow and that we can still find the sweetness of our life that we're yet to experience and the things that the doors we're yet to open up and walk through. Totally.
And it's there. I mean, we said it earlier. What you want wants you.
Oh,
what you want. I'm going to say that again because
I'm writing it down.
What you want wants you. Another thing too is the power of manifestation. And I feel like this is an important point to make. When we're manifesting, have you ever heard of Notes from the Universe by Mike Decello?
I get it every day.
Okay, so interesting side note. My wife and I spent 3 weeks with Mike Decello and his brother Andy in New Zealand, touring the country and doing Notes from the Universe with him.
You did
Remarkable
not.
Experience.
Wait, seriously?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Mike,
we went to Milford Sound. We were at the North Island. We were at the South Island. We spent, I think it was 3 weeks in New Zealand with Mike Decello. We've both gone to his seminars and spoken with him and hung out with him. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah.
So I love that you get Notes from the Universe every morning too. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, totally.
I think that's awesome. So one of the things I learned about manifestation, and my wife and I use this to great effect for our wedding. The forecast for our wedding day was rain. Now the universe is always listening. So instead of walking around going, I hope it doesn't rain. I hope it doesn't rain. I hope it doesn't rain. We walked around going, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be sunny and it's going to be great. And we're not worried about a thing. To the point where my brother actually said to me at one point, what's your contingency plan? So we ain't got one. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
Our wedding day, it was cloudy until my wife was about to walk out the back of the house because we had it in our backyard. when she was walking out and the bridal party was coming out, I kid you not, the clouds parted, the sun came out, and it was clear the rest of that day. It rained all day the next day. So when it comes to manifestation and thoughts becoming things, think good thoughts, because the universe is always listening. So if you say, oh God, I hope I don't get sick from this, you're probably going to get sick, because all the universe is hearing is sick.
Yeah.
Change your words are important.
Yes.
Another thing I learned was, when I'm talking to people, they're always going, hey, you know how when you do this and when you do that. I don't operate that way. I talk from me. When I do this, when I do that, because I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put that on you. So you may have noticed in this conversation, there's a lot of times where I experienced this, or I took this action. I come from I. The third thing I did was I eliminated the word but from my vocabulary, or at least I keep trying to. Yes. Because when somebody says, and I'll give you a good example, I love you, but doesn't matter what they say.
It doesn't matter what follows.
They just negated, I love you.
Totally. Yeah.
So I love you, and I would appreciate it if you said this to me a little bit, or I love you, and can we do it differently this way? That little simple thing shifted the relationship I have with my wife, because we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
We hold each other accountable, but we do it in a loving way. There's still acceptable sentences where you could say, but.
Right.
If I'm talking to someone I care about, though, I will never look at them and go, hey, you did a great job on this thing over here, but no.
Right.
Because I just negated telling them they did a great job.
Totally. I had that conversation with somebody literally 3 days ago, and we went round and round. Kind of reminds me of what you were talking about when you went into that seminar, and it was like a 45-minute, like, here we go. Let me tell you exactly why let's do this. Yes.
Let's do this. Because there's no way I'm wrong on this one. And,
totally.
That's another one. How many people do we experience that are so committed to being right that they will sacrifice relationship or whatever it might be to be right about whatever it is?
Yeah.
And when I'm in that headspace of I'm going to be right about this, I do two things. I evidence gather.
Okay.
And I enroll others into my cause.
Okay.
Don't be right. Just be.
Yeah.
Let's not operate from right or wrong. It just is. Here's your perspective. Here's mine. How do we move forward?
It just is. Yeah. And words are powerful. So powerful. 100%. The but and the and is a very powerful way. It's how we speak to ourselves, not just to other people. But if we take this back into the career mechanism that we're talking about today, we can create the stumbling blocks. We can create the walls that we then have to try to climb over. And then we get exhausted, because who wants to climb another damn wall? Because it's like we just built another wall about why we can't do something different, why we can't shift our mentality to think I deserve something different. This is not aligned with me. How do I make this different for me? What's one tiny step? And I always talk about this. What's 1%? 1% that you can do today to make things a little bit different, because 1% matters. It totally does. I love it. What you want wants you.
1,000,000%. What you want wants you. I can't say it enough, because it's so, so true. And I have manifested that numerous times in my professional career. When I had to go back to school to become a firefighter in California again. Okay, here we go. Did I want to go back? No. Was it hard? Even more so because I was older. When I got hired eventually, because I had my success, I got hired as a 36-year-old rookie with a bunch of 23-year-olds.
Right?
And they're all making fun of me. Hey, old man. Hey, and I'm just, okay, I earned my spot here just like you did.
Yeah.
And how come the old man's beating you up the hill? Or how come the old man's doing this? And I embraced it and had fun with it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a victim to it. And it's all what we choose. We come back to choosing again, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to choose what's best for me.
Yeah.
Am I worried about what other people think? I think sometimes it's human nature. I can't help it. I can't. As much as I don't want to, it's still going to happen. And I have to let that go. Because if I don't, it's just going to hold me back. It's
Totally.
just going to be room for the people that say you can't do it to get in there and feed the belief that I can't do it.
Yes.
I don't know if you could see this plaque behind me.
I do. Yes. If you're not seeing this on YouTube, but you're listening, what he has behind him is a plaque, and it looks like it's a hatchet on the plaque.
It is a miniature fire axe with a
Okay.
fire department logo. And this was given to me when I graduated and got hired into the fire service in California. My brother gave me that. And what the inscription on that plaque says is, a great pleasure in life is doing what others say you cannot.
Oof.
Because everybody told me I couldn't do it. You're too short. You're too small. You're too old. You're too this. These are the naysayers, right? Everybody listening, I know there's people in your life that are saying this stuff to you.
Yeah.
Tune that out like it's a radio dial, and tune it to the radio station you like, which is the people going, you got this. Let's go. How can I help you? That's
yes.
what you want. How can I support your goals? If there's somebody next to you going, I don't think you can do that. I love you, and I'm going to have to bring somebody in that's going to support my goals and support where I want to go with this, because we are successful based on the work we do and who we surround ourselves with in order to get there. Can't do it alone. Human beings are social creatures. We need each other. That's why we're empathic. That's why we could feel each other's emotions. How many times have I felt, or I've been in conversation with somebody and I go, hang on, are you okay? Is everything all right? I said that to a girl I work with one time. She was just walking by me, and I was good friends with her. She's walking by me and she goes, hey, Mike. And I go, hey, how you doing? Hey. She looked at me and I said, are you okay? She started crying. And she goes, how did you know? Because we can feel that. And people spend a great deal of their day tuning that stuff out. I learned to embrace it. I did a lot of Reiki work with this type of stuff and this type of energy stuff, learning about it. It's a real thing. Now, I know there's going to be people like, oh, it's all woo-wooey. Yeah, it's a little woo-wooey. I like the woo-wooey. Okay?
But it's okay. I do too. I do the woo-wooey. Yeah, it's all good. Totally.
It's fine because it works. I mean, again, this is all journey of self-discovery. The more I know about myself, the better I can show up.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And that's it. And that's what we're trying to do here. It's about our soul. The bottom line of the platform, the soul goals, is to uncover the pieces of our soul that we bring forth into this body and into this world and into our community to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be for the community around us. And if we can't step into ourselves fully, we are letting ourselves down. We're letting the people around us down. And part of that involves that self-exploration. Part of that involves doing that hard work. Part of that involves accepting who we are and knowing that it's okay to be who we are, right?
And I'll go even one step further. Hey, love yourself. Yeah. It's okay to love yourself. Yeah. It's not selfish. It's actually really healthy. Yeah. Be happy about who you are and love yourself. And if you're unhappy in where you are and what you're doing, you have the power to change. You have the choice. I mean, earlier you asked, what would I say to the person who says, I'm stuck in this, this, and this? You still have the power of choice, and you still have the power to change. Well, how does it, don't worry about the how. Set your intention and the how will appear. Yeah. And I think a lot of people get hung up on this. I know there was a time where I did, and I don't anymore. Ask for help.
Oh, wow. Right. We don't ask for help, Mike. We don't ask for help.
Nobody wants any help. No, I got this. I can do it. It's cool. It's this, it's that. No. Hey, can I get some help over here? Because I really could use some. Yeah. Be that vulnerability. People mistake vulnerability for weakness. It's not. It's not. And I'm willing to take that chance that I'm going to be vulnerable. It's not up to me how somebody else responds. I can choose what I do after that. But that vulnerability and asking for help, for all I know, the person I'm asking for help is the person that's going to go, hey, maybe you should come work for me. I've got 4 novels that I want you to do the voiceover for. Yeah. It happens just like that sometimes. Yeah. It's that simple, or it can be. So we still have that power of choice. And if somebody's stuck in a place where they feel they are completely helpless, ask for help.
Yeah.
What was it? I'm going to make a Harry Potter reference right here.
Oh, please do.
Professor Dumbledore once said, "Help will always be available at Hogwarts to those who ask for it."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Now that I've exposed myself as a nerd, but hey, that's a whole other story.
All good. All good. I mean, spitting facts right there. I think anyway, to me, that makes sense to me. Like,
it was very difficult for me to learn to ask for help.
oh,
It
yeah.
was a huge mountain for me to climb
Yeah.
because I think part of it was, as a man, I have to prove myself to other guys. I have to prove myself. There's this, I don't know if it's a stereotypical thing or what. And it's always a competition with guys and everything. So to be vulnerable, to ask for help, it was a real tough mountain for me to climb. And it's still sometimes challenging for me to just say, hey, you know what? I could use some help. And it's that simple. It's that easy to just say, I could use some help on whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I've gotten great results in asking for help. And in some cases, I've gotten to where I wanted to go a lot faster than if I had just tried to slug it out and do it on my own.
Right. Like we are who are we trying to prove to that we can do it? You know what I'm saying? What are we trying to prove? I sat in addiction for so long because I wasn't going to ask for help because it served me, created a victim mentality. I knew what it was. I was comfortable with it. But also it's like, all right, once I got to that point where I like, okay, I think I can do this differently. I'm going to muscle through it. I'm going to, what I said earlier, ram the square peg in the round hole because I can do this. But we need support. We are wired for connection. We are human beings wired for connection. We are energy and we connect to one another in such interesting and intricate ways that we are so much more than the sum of our parts. Totally.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And it has been statistically shown that people who live or lead a solitary life have a shorter life expectancy than those who do not.
Right.
So as much as I don't want to go out into the world, sometimes I'm like, okay, we're going anyway. Let's do this and let's have a good time doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Intention and choice and finding your worthiness and knowing that you are not alone. You are not powerless to change your circumstances. You can take action. 1% makes a difference. And that you can dive in and do that work. You're worthy of goodness. You deserve the good and what you want wants you.
I love that you love that so much.
I do. It's so good. It's so good. So good. Mike, oh my God, I've loved this time talking with you. This has been amazing. Amazing.
Thank you. I've had a great time as well. I mean, it exceeds expectations. 10 out of 10 would do it again.
Yay. Yay. Well, we'll have to do it. We'll have to do another subject. But in talking, just wrapping up this career reinvention, I want to say maybe we call this life reinvention because our careers, we spend so much of our days and so much of our lives in our careers. Why are we staying in something that makes us feel like shit, that makes us feel unfulfilled? If we have to be there for a certain period of time, that is one thing. It's about being responsible about your actions, but it's also about understanding that we can take action. There is things that we can choose to do differently, beliefs that we can challenge about why it is we feel we can't change. And sometimes, like you said, just asking for help or making a shift that's very tiny can create an opportunity we would have never, ever, ever thought was possible, ever.
100%. There's a quote that I love, and I'm gonna muff it a little bit because it's been kind of changed over the years, but it's basically be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid.
Love it.
And my wife and I use that all the time. Whenever I start to hesitate on something, for example, background work, be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. And they do every time.
Be bold. I love that. Hey, absolutely. Amen, brother. Let's go out. Let's be intentional. Let's make it happen.
100%. Because we can. And I mean, we've been talking about this for I don't know how long, but we can make all of it. And everybody listening, this means you too. You all have this ability. We all have this power of manifestation and being the best versions of ourselves and having what we want. It's all there for the taking.
Amen. I preach. all day long.
Yeah.
I totally. Yes. Yes. Let's
Well, thank
intentional.
you.
Yeah. Let's intentionally go out today, make it happen, know that you deserve it and that you are worthy of it. And that 1% change can be just the shift that your soul is needing for today, for next week, for next month, for you, for your community, for everybody around you.
For
Absolutely.
everybody. For
Yeah.
everybody. We're all in this together. Let's just make it work for everybody. And
Amen.
that's where I'm at. That's where I'm trying to be every day.
Well, you're doing a great job of it. I love it. Thank you so much for today, Mike. I love our talk. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, great rest of your week. And let's go voice over some novels.
Let's go. Dawn, thank you so much for having me on. I had a great time. Anytime you want me back, I am your guy. I will be back in a heartbeat. But thank you. I can't thank you enough. And yeah, let's knock this out the box this year. Let's go.
2026 is our year. Let's go, man.
100%.
All right. Have a great day, Mike.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.